Welcome to the continuation of the discussion on quantitative techniques. So we ended on decision tree analysis. So under the decision tree analysis, this is another tool or technique for us to make decisions for a related course of action. So a decision tree is a graphic representation of the decision points, the alternative courses of action available to the decision maker, and the possible outcomes from each alternative, as well as the relative probabilities and the expected values of each event. So we refer to the decision tree, i-specify lang natin yung tinatawag na nodes, the intersections in a decision tree. So ito yon, yung mga intersections in the decision tree. So, meron tayong payoff and then expected value. Yung payoff, di ba? These are the values assigned for each alternative. At yung expected value is the payoff multiplied to your probability. So, yung branches ang tinatawag dun sa mga connectors nila. So kapag square, we look at this as the decision points or the decision nodes, the points at which the decision maker must choose some action. So mamimili siya between alternative 1 and alternative 2. The chance points represented by a circle are the state of nature node or probability node, the points at which some event related to the previous decision will occur. Yung chance points yan. So what are the advantages of using the decision tree? One, it facilitates the evaluation of alternatives by giving the decision maker a visual presentation. So nakikita kasi ng manager using this visually kung paano siya magde-decide. So it is, di ba? It is better for you to decide using a visual presentation rather than a complete paragraph statements. Number two, the decision trees are useful when sequential decisions are involved. Nakikita mo yung sequence. Kapag pinili mo itong isang alternative, then pinili mo yung ganitong alternative, makikita mo yung magiging result or benefit and cost niya. However, there are limitations. It may be difficult to determine kapag maraming branches or maraming possible events or outcomes and their probabilities, and it can be complex kapag sobrang dami na yung events and sequences of decisions na gagamitin. So dapat yung medyo hindi masyadong complex at hindi masyadong kakaunti yung decision na kailangan gawin. So what are the steps? One, you identify the decision points and the chance points. Second, you determine the events that may result from the chance points. Third, you estimate the outcomes, the payoffs of each event, as well as their estimated probabilities. Fourth, you compute for the expected values of the outcomes. And fifth, evaluate the results and choose the best course of action. So for us to easily understand decision tree analysis, it will be better if we illustrate it. Using the pancit in the box example on our previous discussion videos, the decision tree is presented as follows. Okay? You are deciding whether you will prepare 500, you will prepare 600, or you will prepare 700 boxes. So, using our previous computation, ipinlat lang po natin the demand, for each items, ayan siya, and then the probability. So, meron tayong payoff dito at saka yung expected value. So, based on this, makikita natin that the expected value is at 10,000 for the decision to prepare 500 boxes. 11,500 naman kapag nag-prepare ka ng 600 boxes at 11,250 pag nag-prepare ka ng 700 boxes. So, kaya makikita mo dito sa chance point, ayan na nakalagay na mismo yung expected value niya. At alin ba dyan, ang goal mo kasi is to maximize your profit. Of course. So, anong pipiliin mo? The highest contribution margin, 11.5. So, ililift mo yung 11.5, yun ang gagamitin mo ditong, yun na ang magiging decision mo, the 11,500. So, ngayon, si manager, ipapakita kay higher level manager kung bakit siya nag-arrive on that. Pwedeng i-present niya visually using this decision tree analysis. Kaya siya nag-arrive at 11,500. Kaya nga sabi dito, the decision is to prepare 600 boxes of pancit because this quantity has the highest expected value of contribution margin. Okay? Let's proceed with the Gantt chart. The Gantt chart, or more known as the bar chart, shows the different activities or tasks in a project as well as their estimated start and completion times. So ano ba itong Gantt chart na to? Tingnan mo yung illustration. Yung Gantt chart na yan, pinapakita niya lang yung start ng activity at yung end nito. So normally yan ay ginagamit sa mga construction projects. Tingnan mo, yung task A will start before July and will be ending at mid-August and September. Yung B will start at before July and will be ending at August. Yung task C will be starting before July and will be ending at before October. Task D will start at the mid of July and August and will be ending at the mid of August, September. So ano ang pinapakita lang nito? Pinapakita nito yung start and finish of a particular activity at namo-monitor ng manager kung saang mga projects tayo, saang mga activities tayo nagtatagal. Anong mga projects din ang pwedeng mag-overlap through the period, 'di ba? For example, yung task A, B, and C, pwede silang mag-overlap during the month of July. So may mga ganong condition. So pwedeng this is helpful in looking at your labor requirements, yung workforce na tinitingnan natin because this involve cost in the operations of the business. Okay, sabi dito, it shows which activity should be in progress as of a certain date and how close it is to completion time. Okay? So more or less, when you are faced with these are, hindi ka naman papagawin ng ganito when you face the CPA board exam. But you will be looking at this I want to recommend you analyzing this as a conceptual question because pwede kasing pakitaan ka ng ganitong klaseng graph and then you will be asked kung anong klaseng quantitative techniques ang ginagamit dito. 'Di ba? And if you will not encounter the discussion related to the bar chart, hindi mo yun masasagot. 'Di ba? Paano mo mahuhulaan na, for example, ang choice is Gantt chart. Paano mo malalaman na Gantt chart yan kung hindi sa iyo pinakita yung ganitong klaseng quantitative technique, 'di ba? So the gist or the basic consideration ay pinapakita sa iyo ngayon para maging familiar ka sa mga ganitong klaseng quantitative techniques, okay? Let's proceed more with the PERT, the Program Evaluation and Review Technique. This is a networking technique used for planning and controlling the activities in a project. It provides management pertinent info about the project. So, yung completion time, kailan mag-start and finish, which part of the project must be finished on time to avoid making the whole project late, how resources will be shifted from one part to another, and the progress of each part of the project as of a certain date. So yung PERT diagram, it is an arrow diagram or a network showing the interrelationships or interdependencies of the various activities of a project. Kung titingnan mo, the Gantt chart and the PERT are related. However, it is more complex than the Gantt chart, itong PERT diagram, because meron na incorporate na kasi dito yung mga time estimates at saka yung critical path method. Yung critical path method will be discussed later. However, sa Gantt chart kasi, pinapakita niya lang kung gaano ang tagal ng bawat activity. However, dito, naka-specify na rin mismo yung time. Yung probabilistic time estimates o yung ibig sabihin ng probabilistic time estimates is um, yung estimate doon sa time na most likely ay ganito. Kumbaga ganun, yung inestimate yung time na magugugol mo sa bawat activity na yan. Unlike the Gantt chart na hindi nabibigyan ng time estimation, ganun. So, okay, the node, the event, we already have identified this on our decision tree analysis. Okay, so there are types of activities. We have to classify this. Dapat maintindihan mo ito. When we say series, an activity cannot be performed unless its predecessor activity is finished. For example, activity 1, 2, and 2 and 5 are series of activities. Hindi pwedeng mag-proceed ka sa 2, 5 hanggat hindi mo natatapos yung 1, 2. Parang sa subject mo lang, sa yung mga prerequisite, hindi pwedeng kinukuha mo na yung subject pero hindi mo pa nakuha yung prerequisite niya. So, ganun. Yung, kumbaga, these are series activities. So, ang sinasabi sa series, hindi mo pwedeng i-perform yung isang activity unless nagawa mo na yung predecessor activity nun. However, conversely, under the parallel activities, it can be performed simultaneously. For example, activity 1 and 2, it can be performed while activity 1 to 3 is being performed. So, ganun siya. So, the concept of time estimates in the illustrative diagram, okay, asan yung illustrative diagram? Ito, yung nasa PERT. Diba? May makikita ka dyang T sub E, T sub E. Okay. Yung ibig sabihin nun, the time estimates. Gaano katagal gawin. So, ang sabi doon, if the time estimates are in weeks, so weeks daw yon. So, kung may nakita kang 4.5, 4.5 weeks yon. The time estimates for activity 1 to 2 shown as 1 to 2, time estimate 4.5 are, okay, tingnan natin. Meron ba dito? Ito yon. Ito yung sinasample niya, yung 1 and 2. So, merong nakalagay doon na time estimate na 4.5 weeks. Ibig sabihin, that is the expected time na magagawa yung activity. Ano yung 1, 5, and 6 na nasa ibaba? So, i-analyze natin. T sub 0 is the optimistic time, 1 week. Ibig sabihin, ito yung kung sobrang ayos or efficient ng operations, magagawa mo naman siya within 1 week. Pero kung pessimistic time, ibig sabihin negative to. Di ba? Pag when we say pessimistic, negative, kumbaga yung conservative assessment, 6 weeks mo siya magagawa kung nagkaroon ng mga problems or other factors. The most likely time is 5 weeks. So yung average is most likely daw ay 5 weeks mo yan magagawa. So, how do we compute for your expected time? So, yung time expected na 4.5 is computed as sa formula that is the T sub 0 or the optimistic time plus 4 times the T sub M or the most likely time plus the T sub P or the pessimistic time divided by 6. Okay? Kaya kung pa-plot natin yan, 1 plus 4 times 5 plus 6 divided by 6. Okay? So, 4.5 ang expected time natin dyan. So, please refer to the formula in computing for your time expected. The expected time is the average time an activity would require if it were repeated at a large number of times. Okay? So, kung uulitin mong gawin yung isang activity uli, ganyan na yung average time na magagawa mo. So, a path is a series of activities from start to finish. In the illustrative PERT diagram, the paths and their corresponding path times are, so tingnan natin yung PERT diagram natin, di ba? Ito yung endpoint kasi, si 6. So, 1, 2, 5, 6 is 1. 1, 3, 6 is 1 alternative, and then 1, 4, 6 is 1 alternative. So, paano gagawin natin dyan? So, compute mo lang po yung path time niya. 1, 2, 5, 6. So, di ba? 4.5 plus 6.5 plus 3 is 14. 1, 3, 6, 8 weeks plus 7 weeks, 15 weeks. 1, 4, 6, 6 weeks plus 2 weeks is 8 weeks. Sir, saan ba nakuha yun? Ayun po siya, nakalagay 4.5, 6.5, tsaka 3. Tapos, ito, nakalagay 8, and then 7 ba yan, or 6? 6, and then 2. Okay. Inad lang po yung TE. T sub E, yung expected time. So, based on this, makikita mo na yung critical path method na laging tinatanong. This is the famous critical path concept. Ang sinasabi lang sa critical path, which is also used in some of engineering and construction problems, the longest path through the network in the illustrative network, path 1, 3, and 6 requiring 15 weeks is the critical path. So when we say critical path, ito yung pinakamahaba. Ito yung pinakamahabang path in which in this case 15 weeks, di ba? 15 weeks siya katagal para ma-accomplish yung path 1, 3, and 6. So ano ang importance of us knowing the critical path? So let us read more. A delay in the completion of activities in the critical path would cause a delay in the completion of the entire project. So imagine, kung hindi mo na-analyze yan, kung magkakaroon ka ng delay dyan, it will affect the entire project. Second, shortening the total completion time of the whole project can be accomplished only by shortening the critical path. So kahit na i-shorten mo pa yung ibang paths, yung for example 1, 4, 6, kung yung critical path mo remains at 15 weeks, hindi mo ma-shorten yung whole project kasi dadaanan yun. Okay? Okay. So you have to remember this. Ito ay yung 1, 2, 5, 6, this is one activity. 1, 3, 6 is one activity. 1, 4, 6 is another activity. And all of these comprise and all of these comprise yung whole project. So kailangan daanan mo lahat 'yon kasi yan yung process niya. Okay? So magde-devise ng way on how we evaluate the program based on the activities and the paths na na-identify natin. So, kung ang gusto mo is to shorten the term, you have to focus your attention on your critical path. Kasi kahit na iklian mo pa ito, kung ganon din katagal yung critical path mo, aantayin din siya kahit natapos pa yung ibang activity. Okay? Slack time is the length of time by which a particular activity can slip or be delayed without having any delaying effect on the end event. Activities along the critical path have a slack of 0 and all non-critical activities have positive slack. So, para maintindihan mo itong sinasabing slack time, let us look at the illustrative example. 'Di ba? Yung path natin ay 1, 3, 6, siya yung critical path, yung 15, 1, 2, 5, 6, and then susunod yon 14 weeks, and then 1, 4, 6 at 8 weeks. So, ito yon. Yun yung path time niya. So, gamitin natin yung critical path for us to compute for your slack time. Kasi ang sabi dito, the length of time by which a particular activity can slip can slip or be delayed without having any delaying effect on the event. Kasi ang total critical path ay 15. So, kung ang path time niyan ay 15 din, so wala siyang slack time. Kaya nga sabi, activities along the critical path have a slack of 0. Bakit wala siyang slack time? Kasi siya na yung pinakamahaba. So, siya yung laging nating ina-adjust or pinapaigsi yung time. Kasi, kahit na matapos pa yung path 1, 2, 5, 6, at tingnan mo, ang slack time niya ay 1 week. Mag-aantay yan ng 1 week para matapos yung path 1, 3, 6. Yung path 1, 4, 6, imagine mo, 7 weeks ang slack time niya. Tapos na siya, for 7 weeks, inaantay niya lang yung critical path. So, ibig sabihin, dapat mapaiksi pa natin yung critical path natin para mas maging efficient yung operations. Okay, let us refer to the definition of crash time. Ano tong crash time na tinatawag? This is the time required to complete an activity assuming that all available resources, overtime, extra manpower, etc. are devoted to such activity. Crashing the network, determining the minimum cost of completing the project in minimum time so that an optimum trade-off between time and cost is achieved. So, ang sinasabi lang dito is yung crash time na tinatawag. In cases wherein kailangan nating i-meet yung particular goal or demand of a product, we involve ourselves into a crash time. Yung lahat ng resources ay nilalagay natin sa isang particular activity para matapos yung project na yon or yung demand for that product. So, ang tawag doon is the crash time. Yung time na na-incur natin when we want to complete an activity and we focus all the resources. So, yun. So, more or less, pwede yang maging conceptual question, yung mga ganyang klaseng concept. Yung ganyang mga klaseng uh, terminologies ay pwedeng maging conceptual question in your CPA board exam. Okay. Okay, the accountant's role in PERT is the determination of the cost estimates and actual cost for each activity on a project. Yes, the preparation of activity and project cost reports and computation analysis of cost variances. Yes. So what are the benefits? The benefit is it is very helpful, useful technique for planning and controlling activities in a project of the entire project or the entire project itself. Some of the procedures included in PERT are in harmony with the accountant's budgetary tasks and in the application of a responsibility accounting system. Diba? Diniscuss natin ito before na we have to minimize the cost on each responsibility centers whereby we have to maximize the profit potential of each responsibility center. Kaya yan ay in harmony with the task of the accountant or the cost accountant. The technique may be used to solve managerial problems pertaining to project scheduling, information systems design, and transportation systems design. Kasi makikita mo na kung gaano katagal gawin yung particular activity. It also helped to keep the project on schedule and to provide feedback to management about the progress of each project. However, it is limited because the reliable time and cost data may not be readily available and obtaining them may be difficult. Persons involved may overstate budgeted costs and the time estimates to avoid unfavorable variances and pressure from their superiors. So, more or less, yung mga superiors ng mga bawat activity, they are covering up the actual data. Pwedeng ang pine-present na data sa iyo is yung ganito para is yung favorable on their image as activity managers para hindi maapektuhan yung relationship ng kanilang superior dun sa activity managers na yan. So that can be a limitation of the PERT. I think I have to end the discussion related to PERT. We will continue on our next video for linear programming. Thank you.